Obviously, we're back to work. Looking forward to a good week of practice. This will be a good challenge for our football team, playing a very explosive offense and defense that runs very well side to side, and team that obviously played very well in the last game against Baylor. So we need to continue to improve on pass rush. I need to defend the vertical passing game better. Offensively, we need to be consistent for 4 quarters, continue to find ways to run the football, and take care of the football. I think anytime you play in a game like this, turnovers will be key. Whoever wins that battle will have a great chance to win the game. But I know we're looking forward to getting back to work and going out there and playing on Saturday afternoon.
Mike, have you guys been able to put a handle yet on why you've gotten off to some of these kind of struggling starts in some of these games?
Well, last week was different in that we started good in the first quarter, played very well, and then tapered off a little bit, and then made some adjustments and played better in the third quarter. I don't think there's any question that our coaching staff and our players are aware that we need to play consistent throughout the game. But it is, it's ironic. I probably watched more college football this year than ever because of the way our schedule was set up. I had more free time on Saturdays, and you see other teams do it, and I don't know why it is. The game's changing. I felt that way for several years. That it's a little more trendy throughout the game, or teams they get hot and then they slow down, they get hot again. Emotions play a big part of that.
Mike, the communication between coaches and your players. First off, the importance of that, but secondly, with so many young guys, we were talking to some of them downstairs, that make us think that the communication really is pretty good in getting your ideas across to them and them telling you what they're seeing. How does that compare with teams you've had before?
Well, I'm comfortable with the approach that we have, and with Coach Young and Coach Holgerson, and the way they communicate with the players. And during the game, I think our coaches do a good job in between series of one, correcting mistakes, or the flip side of that is talking about continuing what they were able to accomplish in the series before. And then at halftime, I think they do a good job of grouping up and what's been good, what's been bad, and what are the solutions for the second half, and not necessarily worry about what's happened in the first half because you can't change it, whether it be good or bad, and get the information to the players. And it be in a easy enough state of communication so that they can absorb it and then be able to execute it in the second half. If there's too much to it, I don't think they can actually absorb the information, and they can't perform in the second half. So I think they're doing a good job with that.
Mike, and looking at Texas Tech, are they still pretty similar to what they were when Leach was out there, or can you tell some?
They play faster. Obviously, the coordinator came from Troy. You guys have seen Troy. They run the same offense. They run the ball effective. Their quarterback's throwing the ball really well. They have 2 backs that are running. They're physical, and they have good skill guys on the perimeter. They have a nice carryover from a recruiting standpoint from what Coach Leach was doing to what they're running right now. A lot of similarities other than the speed of the offense and obviously more running game.
With that said, Mike, are you sleeping better this week knowing Leach isn't there anymore?
Well, if from the part I saw on Saturday, I didn't really sleep very good after that. They moved the ball pretty effective. They, again, have the luxury of watching some of the game in between cooking and playing with the kids, and they flashed up the halftime statistics, and it was 400 and something yards at half, I believe. So I wasn't too fired up about that. But when you get into league play, you're going to play good teams. You're going to have to be consistent in each game. You're going to have to take care of football. You're going to have to be sound in special teams, and have to work hard during the week and get ready to play. So there's no doubt that they can move the ball on offense, and we can move the ball, so it should be a good football game.
By being undefeated, Mike, and having a ranking to be in, is it easier to sustain a high level of practice because the stakes remain so high week in and week out? Do they have fewer subpar practices just by virtue of that?
I would say that when you're winning, it makes it easier to practice. Everybody likes to win. The age of technology we live in, I think that when the players are on campus and they access so much information from their phones that they like to hear about that they're performing well and doing good, I think that's only human nature. I always worry about it because I'm pretty sure that it doesn't really affect the game. And I don't want their performance in practice to lessen because somebody's telling them how good they are. I read one time where somebody said publicity is only an issue if you digest it. And so we try to do a good job of instilling the importance of practice and demeanor and body language and part of being a team more so than listening to everything that goes on out there. But I would rather it be that way than the other.
So if you've had more chances to watch more football and you've seen more teams, how do you feel about OSU's place in the big picture? Do you feel like you belong in the conversation?
Well, I think that everybody in the league belongs in the conversation right now. And most of the coaches that you talk to, I would say they're going to agree with that because they probably realize that you have to be prepared to play every Saturday or you can get beat. And the flip side of that is if you're not as athletic as somebody you're playing and you do perform well and you don't turn the ball over, then you have a chance of beating those teams. So I think it's really good for the league, the way it's working out. I think there's a couple teams that may be more athletic than the other teams, but the other teams have the ability to win those games. I haven't studied everybody in this league. I've just watched bits and pieces on TV, and I haven't studied it and run it back. But I'm glad that we're in the situation that we're in. We definitely are not ready to cancel practice. We need work in all three phases, and it's pretty evident where we need improvement. And it's not going to happen overnight. Our coaches have to understand that our players need to be better tomorrow than they are today, and then better next Wednesday than they are this coming Wednesday, and progress as the season goes on.
But you know what it was like around here 2 years ago when you were undefeated for 8 weeks or whatever, and you had it rolling good. Is this team on that level?
That's really hard to answer because at this point last year, our record wasn't as good, but we may have been more talented last year than where we are right now. When you tie in just raw talent, experience, and depth. We were probably further along last year than we are now, but that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is where you're at this particular time, and the improvement that this team has made in coming together as a group and moving in the right direction and doing the right things has benefited them and has gotten them to the point where they are now. So if they can stay focused and stay on a straight line, then they'll have a chance to continue to play well throughout the season.
So is it safe to say this is the most mature young football team you've been around?
The young guys are further along than what I would have anticipated. I think that's a tribute to the assistant coaches and the way they're handling them. I think that the Ori Lemons and Hugos and Kendall and Jarkas and some of the mature players that we have done a nice job with the younger players. But I still want to express the importance of staying focused and limiting or avoiding distractions among your team and how important that is the team having success.
Mike, sometimes coaches, and I think you saw this in Pat when you played for him, they almost turn a corner when they get into conference play and all the non-con games are over. Are you like that at all? I mean, do you change up things a little bit because, okay, now this is conference or not?
No, we're not in a position where we can really separate a league from non-league play. And as you can tell from our preseason schedule, when we take care of the football and we're kind of hitting on all cylinders, we can be pretty good. But if we're giving up big plays and we're not taking care of the football and we're making mistakes in the kicking game, we can be pretty average. And that's the one enjoyable part of coaching. I'm really enjoying being a part of this team, watching them grow and develop and mature and make strides in all those areas.
Are you starting to see teams play Justin Blackman a little bit differently maybe in the last couple of games than what they were earlier in the season?
We got a few things against A&M that were different, and then we got a considerable number of different looks in Lafayette. Justifiably so from a statistic standpoint. Most defensive coaches are going to try to take away what an offense does best first and then rally to everything else. And so I would guess that we'll see more of that in the future.